13 of Stanislavski's methods are presented here. They combine to provide a full rehearsal process or a drama course in microcosm. I've developed these methods to fit contemporary rehearsal schedules after many years as a theatre, television and film director. I refined them as founding Dean of Drama at the Victorian College of the Arts and as a regular teacher-director at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art in London. Using Tchekhov's The Cherry Orchard as the text, with a group of Australian university students, I demonstrate how these methods are applied to any text, modern or classical.
My name is Peter Fitzpatrick and I'm Head of Drama and Theatre Studies at Monash University. We're sitting at the moment in the Drama Theatre at Monash. We're a group of students from our third year Performing Arts course who are taking a unit called Directing Workshop, working with Peter Oyston on the third day of a series of intensive workshops in the application of Stanislaviskian techniques to performance.
Children act quite unself-consciously and spontaneously and instinctively, but they can never repeat it. You know, if they bring the parents, and I remember when my kids say, "Oh, come and watch this," and they'd obviously done something which was quite wonderful for them, and when they did it again, it was, you know, we're going, yeah, well, and it was nothing. Whereas these methods are conscious, but they consciously move down into and generate the inner life whereby you can create unconsciously and unself-consciously. Analysing the text, choosing the points of change, defining the units of action. Cast and director sit around a table and read the text, selecting the points of change, discussing the different dynamics between each point. These are called units of action. Ultimately, when these units are joined in rehearsal, the different dynamics reveal the play's orchestration, or what Stanislavski calls rhythm tempo. Our job, and your job specifically, is to find the moment of change. We call the time between one change and another change a unit of action.
I don't know how old I am. I haven't got a proper identity card, you see. I keep imagining I'm still quite young. When I was little, Father and Mother used to tour the fairs and give performances. Very good ones they were too. And I used to jump the salto mortale and do all sorts of tricks.
Now, get used to interrupting each other and talking about your discoveries as we go. We're actually creating an ensemble by feeding each other ideas.
When Mum and Papa died, a German lady took me into her house and began to give me lessons. So then I grew up and I became a governess. But where I come from and who I am, I don't know. Who my parents were, perhaps they weren't properly married, I don't know.
See, at a first reading, don't rattle through the text. Give yourself space and time to start feeling and thinking and imagining what's behind the words.
I don't know anything. I'm longing to talk to someone. There isn't anyone. I haven't anyone.
All right. Are there any changes there? All right, stop us. Stop us. So you think there's a point of change? Tricks.
Yeah, because then she's going into another.
Do you all agree on that?
Yeah.
Is that the first unit?
I think just before when she says when I was little, just after I'm still quite young.
Yeah, I was going to say that one too.
The first unit of action you're saying is, I don't know how old I am, I haven't got a proper identity card, and I keep imagining I'm still quite young. Change. Why?
I think it's interesting the fact that she's talking about, she imagines she's young. I don't know, you just get the feeling that she isn't, and there's something that she's holding on to with youth.
Do you see what we're doing? We're building information. So it's not competitive. It's not one director saying, you know, this is the direction and only my vision.
I think that, say if she was trying to convince herself that she was young, it could be that she's decided to reflect on her body, a bit like what Quentin was saying, and her hand perhaps could be outstretched in front of her and she's looking at it, like trying to see if there are more wrinkles this year.
Literally, she goes back to the past. So, if we call that a unit of action, when we get into moving it, and we'll move it quite quickly, you can explore a physicality, an action, which literally suggests to you that you move into the past. I think we should explore the salto mortale a bit more. Do you want to talk about that?
With what I've interpreted is that this, for me, is the leap of faith. Salto mortale was sort of a traditional family performance, and Mum and Papa had died, and for me, they died doing the stunt, the trick.
Life changed.
Life changed.
Let's look at the text again and go through some of these techniques around the table that we've been going through so far.
Naming the units of action. Cast and director choose a specific name for each unit which essentializes the dynamic of that part of the text. These units of action are then rehearsed separately like scenes in a conventional play. Each name defines the particular rhythm tempo of each unit. The actors thus realize the differing pace and mood to be achieved in each unit.
Now here's the next thing. If we call that the first unit of action, just mark it, you know, use your scripts as a living, creative thing, you know, be prepared to write on it. Let's call that unit of action a name. Let's call it something. Unknown, is that specific enough? Age. Charlotta's prologue. Louder. Reflection. Journey. I'm only repeating these because we're searching for the absolute perfect definition of that unit of action. It couldn't be anything else. And we can rehearse it knowing that that's what that is about. Have you got a little premonition of where this is leading? By naming the units, what can happen?
It gives you the subtext.
It's starting to, all of those things. You know, otherwise, what happens? This is the way actors start up. Words. So what? No shape. This is shaping a long speech. So this isn't just for the whole play. This is for any one of your speeches. You break it up into units of action, rehearse each unit of action separately, differently, for its value that is encapsulated in the name of it, and it comes to life.
For instance, this unit we called Hungry for Someone. So when we came to rehearse it, its name defined its rhythm tempo.
Yes.
Okay, what's the name of the unit?
Hungry.
Hungry for someone. Who's the someone in your life? Explore it in action. Go again, sensation seekers.
This unit we called Giants.
To stop our
Stop. All right. What's the unit called? Giants. Your want in the context of what giants means to your particular character. Otherwise, we're doing several plays here. This will keep you on track.
The magic if, revealing the subtext.
After the first reading, the actors look at each other in the eyes and ask each other penetrating personal questions about the other characters' lives. They should use personal pronouns, I and you. This immediately reveals the subtext, and the actors begin to transform into characters. The actors quickly invent ideas and sequences beyond the text. Each character must answer the questions honestly, without evasion.
I am excited and looking forward to living and travelling and being in love. I love being in love. I'm excited about I think I can see the change coming, and like, because I've listened to Trofimov go on, he's quite inspiring.
Okay, so could you say you when you're talking to Trofimov? And could, that's good. And could you look at her in the eyes when we're doing this? And what this does, this condenses a whole kind of process. So just go back over that a little bit, Steph.
I'm optimistic. I want to get away and move and change and love you.
Very interestingly, we start to move incredibly fast.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is really what is called the magic if. If I am Anya and I'm saying what I want out of my life in relation to you, Trofimov, already Trofimov is saying with the magic if I am Trofimov, I look at her in the eye. So it's not you looking at Stephanie. You're moving into another reality. You're transforming and moving from Stephanie to Anya, likewise, you to your character. We're uncovering the subtext this way, using the magic if.
Do you sincerely want us to keep the cherry orchard?
Of course I want what you want, and I want to see you do something to achieve what you want, more than anything.
Can you guarantee our future and our safety and our personal well-being if we do as you say and follow your instructions?
I've been telling you for so long what you can do, but...
But are you doing it just for yourself, or do you really want to help us?
Of course I want to help you. I still remember when you helped me when I was a child. I would never do anything to hurt you, but I can't see how you can continue to keep the cherry orchard and your house and your land all together.
Do you feel indebted to this whole family?
Not anymore, but I did.
Wow.
It's been many years that I've helped your family out. I've seen your children grow up for the past 5 years. I don't feel indebted anymore. I feel compassionate and part of the family as opposed to aside from it.
How does it feel to be a peasant living above your means?
I'm not living above my means. How does it feel to be an aristocrat living above his means?
Look at each other in the eyes, and that will allow you, Stanislavski calls it the mirror to the soul. But if you move away physically and avoid the mirror into the soul, then you're cutting off. You see, in the modern theatre we have very little time. So allow that. So keep asking. Look into each other's eyes.
Yes.
And why did you leave him?
Because the love for my children brought me back here.
So there can be things that outweigh romantic love.
Absolutely. But not money. Would you want to be my daughter's husband?
Yes.
Without being romantically in love with her?
Yes.
Are you going to ask her to marry you? Are you going to look after her?
Yes, for sure.
You're going to emotionally look after her, though. I'm not talking just financially.
Oh, I would hope so.
Allow that sense of trust, the immediacy of these techniques, that they, if you feel them and they're touching your unconscious or your inner life, then they're probably right.
Like, you could definitely see when someone was acting or when they were being. And when they stopped acting, the real acting began. Do you know what I mean? The real character came out and the real truth.
Subtext. The discoveries of the question-answer technique are discussed and noted by the cast and director, defining the inner life of the characters and the play. This process continues throughout rehearsal, and each actor defines his or her history beyond the text.
Would you like to start off with some questions of each other?
Yes.
Right.
Do you love me, Tanyasha?
No, I do not.
Do I embarrass you?
You embarrass me, but you also flatter me.
Okay, so you can all be questioning each other at once, right? Allow that you know, that so that you're bringing up your impulses of what you really want to know about the. Now, if that person doesn't respond with the kind of depth that you really require, don't be satisfied. Follow through. Yeah. Okay. The deal is for each of you to discover more about the subtext of your character.
I want you to listen to me. Do you notice me?
Yes, I notice.
Do you think I'm attractive?
Often the only other person is Yeppy.
Not particularly.
Do you think I'm clever?
Laughed upon by everybody.
I think you're
You are a
relatively
man who
smart.
at least has some degree of respect.
Do you like my
and
tricks?
is going somewhere.
I don't mind them.
Do you like working here?
I would love to go
I
with
don't
you
mind
to that
working
place.
here, but
Why are you here?
See what's happening now? They're starting to settle
I don't think.
and lose themselves.
Why are you here?
So the conscious techniques are there to generate the inner life. So we're not behaving like children acting. This is a method or a process.
These approaches to overcoming the barrier between the actor and the role, to finding a way into the self that is not simply self-indulgent, it doesn't stop at the self, but comes out through for a very positive and repeatable series of performances. It seems to me that that's something that we can all learn from. I've certainly learned a lot by observing it.
Physical actions. Rehearsing each unit separately, the actors initially invent their actions. They say, I do this, I do that, out loud and in parallel with each other. This looks like chaos at first, but when repeated, it eventually becomes coherent and an exciting foundation from which the director can choreograph. It stimulates confidence and creativity. This becomes their map of action.
Now, Stanislavski would say, consciously separate the movements out. Describe every movement. I lift up my cane. I dig it hard into the ground. Not, I wave my cane. The specificity of each action will give you a physical map and explore. Because I'm not going to say that's right, that's wrong. It's your journey as an actor to discover what the possibilities are. Stand by and go straight into it.
look dreamily
Going up to my right
sunrise,
shoulder.
sunrise. Strum my
Remove
guitar,
my hat.
singing sweetly.
Also
Look
to
at
the
Tanisha.
mandolin.
Go away.
I want you to come out of reflective cerebral process into action process. Okay, now, be more adventurous. Why? Because the word to act is synonymous with the word to do, not simply to be. Right, change your positions. So you don't get into a predictable or preempted sort of position.
I stand with the rifle at my hips
Think of another song to play.
Hold
Look
my
at
hands
his
together.
right ear.
Walk over again.
Turn around.
I raise the mandolin.
Rest the gun in my arms.
Rub my
Cross my arms.
Back to the chair.
Sit down again.
Hold my stomach.
Strum my
Touch my
mandolin.
Closer again.
thigh as I sit down. Across my legs.
I take my inspiration from this flow of movement and from the actors. I was working on a play, The Caretaker by Pinter, and there's a line where the Davis, I think it is, says, "You're nothing but a bloody animal." And he said this line, and he spontaneously picked up a 1-bar radiator on the end of a lead and pulled it along behind him. "You're nothing but a bloody animal." Like this. And of course that was gold. You know, it was a treasure for... So yeah, of course we kept that in. But we had to find a way of making it apparently be spontaneous again, so that it wasn't too self-conscious, but it was such a good move. Start straight away, go for it. No alternative, life is short. All right, pressure.
I look to Yasha to encourage him into song.
My stomach and I put the gun over my right shoulder.
Sit down.
I move
return.
my feet back and forth. I shove the
Walk down
cucumber.
left.
I grab the cucumber and drop it. I grab the cucumber with my right hand, roll on my back, and I eat the cucumber in my mouth, and it's safe. I take another bite of the cucumber.
Okay, stop.
Strum
Reactions.
That was cool,
Some
man.
reactions. Come on, quick.
Really
Tell them.
quite
Tell them.
interesting. All the decisions that were made were very interesting. They said something about what they were trying to achieve.
It was
which-
aggressive.
And,
Yeah.
and they actually became separate beings, as opposed to initially when we first saw it, they were just 4 people doing actions. But now the characters started to really come alive, and they're what was more internal.
Do you realise that? Yes, no?
To an extent, yeah. No.
Premeditate too far ahead as well, because when in the break I was thinking of a few other things we're going to do, but everyone sort of turned away and left me alone.
Even off stage.
I want to get back to the house.
I walk in front of Gayev and Lebednov and I beg them, please make a decision.
I turn my back and I fix.
I walk around and I make sure that they can see me.
Try to work further away from it.
Yeah.
Frustrated by the Parkin's incessant.
Now I confront Gayev.
Cigar smell. It's
Talk to Gayev.
these
I talk to his face. I touch him.
Increasingly frustrated with the Parkin.
Okay, right, stop. Okay, go again for your entrance. Give them the cue for the entrance. And listen to me, don't use the name of the person. Say you. Right? Cause and effect, what's that mean? Obstacles? Right? Be absolutely free. And don't mumble. Release your vocal energy. Now, the reason I'm saying that is because very soon you'll be working the text. Now, if you release, if you mumble, if it goes in, it internalizes, that's where it stays.
I talk to both of their backs. I walk away. Give up. Talking.
frustrated.
I stand up.
Sit down.
Frustrated because I feel I've done the right thing. I fix my skirt, check my shawl.
To the railway station.
Notice Gayev walking back.
I worry.
Continue to talk to him. Try again.
I look and stare at him and frown.
You could see when they first got up how they were rigid, and I'm crossing my legs and I'm looking this way, and then in the end...
The speed at which things work, I think Peter's commented on that himself, just being shocked by how someone can start at one level and do a couple of quick exercises and then be, you know, miles ahead in what they've done.
That will give you security, and that will bring us to what we call the circles of concentration. Circles of concentration. The actions of the characters, together with some basic props, are developed and refined by describing the details of each physical action. This action, described out loud, gives the actor immediate confidence and relaxation on stage when repeated several times. The first circle being the specific thing, like at the moment you are twirling. Show them what you're doing. Say what you're doing.
I'm twirling the fringe of my shawl around my pointer finger on my right hand.
Tightly.
Quite tightly.
It's a very precise thing. Now, that will give the actor not only a personal sense of security on the stage and stop her being self-conscious, but it'll also give her something which will suggest, yes, I'm tying this up. Or something similar, which will affect the inner life. This process can work for any play, but it's especially brilliant for large cast plays, because then the director can choreograph, but he or she doesn't have to choreograph everything. Why? Because each actor has a map and a whole lot of physical possibilities, and is creative and inventive, and not just waiting to be told, what do I do now, director? And what the audience is doing, they're watching all these details. They're watching the panorama of life unfold in front of them. So you, as actors, you don't have to show the audience and break the fourth wall that way. You don't have to do that, because it's fascinating from an audience point of view.
For me, that brought it from the head and from the analytical and the cerebral to the body, and connected it to the physicality of being the character and the play, and rather than separating them. And it allowed me to find out a lot more things about my character and what she was thinking, and also find out what she wasn't thinking. You go to say something, you say, and you go, oh, that was wrong. That didn't work, that didn't feel right. I need to try something else. And in doing it, you can get that immediacy, that sort of impulse of, say that, no, try something new. And I found that really interesting and helpful.
Yeah, like just, I really found that as well, and I thought that after a while, because it was so, come on, do it, Reese, do it. It was like I got a bit more faith in my creativity again.
The fourth wall. This invisible wall between the actors and the audience is defined to draw the audience's attention to the details and mysteries of the play. It evolves as the actors become less and less self-conscious. It obviates show-off, self-indulgent acting, where the actor thinks more about impressing the audience than the narrative of the play or his or her relationship with the other actors. Creating a fourth wall helps reveal an illusion of life and truth.
Put my arm on your shoulder.
No one's looking at me.
Intersect. Put my arm around you.
I cross my right leg.
Look
My
out
right
to the
hand rests
sun.
on my left hand. My left hand takes off my
Play with
hat.
my shawl.
And ready to go again? Release your energy. Why are you all facing front?
Right hand, I take my left hand and I throw it into the air and I don't catch it. I get up and I do myself and I get back up and jump to my feet. I turn around and I look at Yasser and I pick up my shawl and I wave it in front of his face and put it over my shoulder.
Clasp my hands in front and I rub them together.
They turned nearby.
All right. It was very clear to me in that last section that the fourth wall was there and that no one was breaking it. That there was this concentration. Even though that you were looking at the sun, coincidentally where the audience was, there was still a fourth wall there because people were not performing for the audience. That's how it appeared to me anyway. All right.
Objectives and superobjectives. Rehearsing each unit separately and following the moves already rehearsed as physical actions, each actor states out loud in parallel with the other actors his or her wants or objectives. I want this, I want that, etc. This method begins to release feelings and the character's emotional map. Conflicts between the characters become immediately apparent and can be excitingly choreographed.
Stanislavski talks about wishes, wants. That if you apply a verb to a particular part of the text, you arrive at an objective. And if you join up the objectives, you get an overall objective for a series of units, and we call that the super objective, okay, which is your overall want. Now, we'll take a unit and we start working it bit by bit, and we work it on the want. I want this, I want that. Everyone speaks in parallel, and peripherally you can hear other people's wants, other people's wishes. And you start to get a sense of the resistance, the obstacle in your way to fulfill your want. And whereas we did the actions of a unit before, we now apply, instead of saying, I do this, I do that, you do all those things, but I want this, I want that, I want. You'll find other people have different wants from yours, and that creates a conflict, and that creates a drama. The irony, the humour, all sorts of things. So it's easy to talk about, but we need to do it. So let's have a look at this first unit. Put your script on the floor so you can relate to it, refer to it, but you haven't got it in your hands. Do you want another look at your text? Have a quick look and work out your wants. Very quickly. Learn to work fast. It just means that it's very possible, because of the small unit, to work fast. All right, off you go.
To be heard, I want people to listen to me.
Right, some of you are mumbling. Hold it. Hold it. Okay. Release your energy. Why? Because if you really want something, if you believe that you want something, you will pursue it. So it'll be an energy that will be a release energy, a moving energy, not a retreating energy. Okay, stand by to give yourself that inspiration to move with it. Go on, action.
I want to be heard. I want to sound clever.
I want you to stop interrupting me.
I want to look at them.
I want to be heard.
I want you to stop
Distract them.
being so practiced. I want you to have a vision. People thinking.
I want to obey.
Okay,
So stupid.
right. Any discoveries?
Yeah.
All right. Would you write them down quickly in a word or two on your text?
I don't think I can tell with myself whether I'm acting or being real.
These systems, these techniques, they eventually, when you trust them, they will tell you. For instance, Yepihodov's walking through, your basic intention is right, but stamping, where you took your energy into the stamp and your resentment of them, just look from the outside. where should the energy go for Jeppe Hodov? The mandolin, he calls it, because he wants it to be romantic and special. I'm saying allow the energy of the character, and the wants especially will tell you how far to go. Don't do it to stand out, don't do it for any competitive reason. Leave yourself behind, leave your ego behind. Now that's not an inhibiting thing. This is to allow the character to release himself or herself. Out of that, did any of you get a super objective for this unit? Or a single objective for this unit?
Action.
I want you to stop being so sarcastic. I want you to listen
to bait someone. Want to walk away?
I want you to think about what you're saying.
I want
you to think about what I'm saying.
You to stop talking.
I want you to have some vision.
If you have already discovered a super objective for this unit, you start off saying that. And one little extra element is if you start off by looking into someone else's eyes, you find a certain amount of trust, both in yourself and your colleague, your fellow actor. Put yourself on standby, give yourself your super objective and go for it.
I want to be in love with trouble.
I want to impress everyone.
I think I'm excited.
I think what I've
I want to feel reassured.
I want everyone to be happy, and I want
to comfort
for my
the
dog
family.
to smile at me. I want to go talk to everybody.
I want to be accepted.
I want to ignore
I
everyone.
want fears to leave us alone now. I want to spend time with my mum.
I want to be accepted.
And follow through with the objective. You see, it's different to cerebrally say, I want such and such, and then somehow wander through and not actually do it. That's the daring thing. Because actors are brave, inventive, daring.
When I was initially, I was just walking from one stage left to right, and I just was feeling very self-conscious about it all. And so Peter was just sort of, think about, your super objective and what you really, really want. And so what I really wanted was for them to, I wanted to resent them. I think it also helped to block out that fourth wall, so you're not sort of walking out and on and in front of an audience. You're just sort of already out there and you're just continuing that for yourself.
Emotional memory. This technique is to increase the emotional map. The actor reveals out loud a deeply emotional situation from his or her own personal life, which parallels or shadows a section of the text. Then, seamlessly, as the emotions are released, the actor starts speaking the text.
Now what you do, you take from your own life some emotional event and you relive that and then shift it across to the text, to the character. Look after yourself. Don't make yourself so vulnerable in this situation. This is very important. You know the story of Rumpelstiltskin, the fairy story? Now, if you know someone's secret name, you have power over them. So I'm suggesting by that metaphor of that story that Zoe doesn't give up her secret name. Zoe, you could start off talking about a personal memory which was quite emotional, and then move into the text. So rather than stopping and then somehow becoming the actor, make it seamless.
I still felt, even though we went together, that I should have been faithful to him, and the guilt was just amazing. Oh, my sins. I got married to a man who only knew how to get into debt. Champagne killed him. He was a terrific drinker.
Are you thinking of the line? All right. Okay, it's not the line that's important. In fact, I suggest, Zoe, that you allow yourself to even make up the lines at the moment and just go back over that again. So you bring it up even more.
I went away and I never meant to return. I never meant to see this river again.
All right, let's go again. Why? Because we have to recreate this every night, consciously. Right? Now, how can you do that, you know, on purely inspiration? No such genius exists, Stanislavski says. Okay, be more adventurous.
And just at that very moment was my punishment. A blow straight to my heart. My little boy was drowned here, in this river.
Now the thing is to de-roll. We've had that rehearsal, so you come out of it, right? Because you can go into it again. A lot of actors get caught up in holding on to an emotion because it's such a precious thing. Whereas the thing is to let that emotion go and move into another emotion. Why? Because the script has moved. Okay? And it's like what I was saying to you yesterday, you know, otherwise you play attitude rather than specifics. Okay, so to be able to de-roll, and it's not being disloyal to the true memory of your personal experience. It's not. It's because you're a performer. Look, you use the emotional memory anywhere in the text that will help you reveal a truth, what Stanislavski calls an inner truth.
When we were asked to do that emotional recall thing, I looked immediately at that monologue, but I was thinking, like, I've got nothing to call on. I've never had a little boy drown on me. But I realised, you know, situations don't have to be parallel in order for the emotions to be as intense, and I feel like I've got new understanding with her now.
Thoughts. Who you are in communion with. During rehearsal, while another actor is delivering a long speech, or while witnessing a duologue, the observer releases out loud a stream of consciousness, thoughts, observations, subtext, and ideas. This develops a thought map, which obviates cliché reactions, for example, pulling faces to indicate interest, what we understand as bad acting.
How do you keep the inner life in an unbroken line flowing forward? And this is a technique, this is an exercise he calls being in communion with. And the technique is that even while, in this case, Trofimov is talking, instead of simply reacting impassively and doing forehead acting, reaction acting, you know, the character is absolutely in tune with whomever is talking, because there is a map of his or her thoughts.
One day, all the things that are beyond our grasp at present are going to fall within our reach. Nearly all the members of the intelligentsia that I know care for nothing, do nothing, and are still incapable of work. They call themselves intelligentsia, but they still talk contemptuously to their servants. They treat the peasants as if they were animals.
Now, what I'd like to do is first of all get Anya's thought processes.
Always seeking to perfect its own powers. One day, all the things that are beyond our grasp at present are going to fall within our reach. Nearly all the members of the intelligentsia that I know care for nothing, do nothing, and are still incapable of work. They call themselves intelligentsia, but they still talk contemptuously to their servants, treat peasants as if they were animals. Anyone can see that our work people are abominably fed and have to sleep without proper beds, 30 or 40 to a room.
Right? So, but there'll be an animation, there'll be a vibrancy in your being at that moment that the audience will sense and pick up on.
Humanity is perpetually advancing, always seeking to perfect its own powers.
Strong hands, what can you do with
One day, all the things that are beyond our grasp at present are going to fall within our reach.
Grasp, strong grasp.
Nearly all the members of the intelligentsia that I know care for nothing, do nothing, and are still incapable of work.
I've always cared for you.
They call themselves intelligentsia, but they still talk contemptuously to their servants. They treat the peasants as if they were animals.
We're both intelligent.
Anyone can see
both care for
that
each
our
other.
work people are
Both got
abominably
curly
fed and have
hair.
to sleep without proper beds, 30 or 40 to a room with bed bugs, bad smells, damp and immorality everywhere.
Focused on what he's doing. Look at everybody on cabbage. They're focusing on him.
It would be better for us to keep quiet. I want to philosophize.
Excellent. He's talking. I love it when he talks. I wonder what he's saying.
One day, all the things that are beyond our grasp at present.
What's he saying? What's he saying? What if he says something that I don't understand?
So if you create a map of thoughts, consecutive thoughts flowing one onto the other and to the other, you will naturally release an energy that is focused and reactions that are believable, truthful. Personal objects and costume. Each actor chooses a personal object. It may also be a piece of costume. He or she carries it or wears it throughout the play. They invent a personal history around that object which is significant to themselves and the narrative. This obviates cliché hand gestures. Could you just find a relationship in this next unit, Goodbye Tsar, and work through the actions, and then go straight into the wants, objectives, and then straight into the thoughts. In other words, do that whole unit 3 times, layering actions, then with wants, wishes, then with thoughts, and in the process, find a sense of meaning or relationship with that personal object.
Stand on my left hand. Take my head off and hold my left hand. Feed the sun. Turn and look once again at the sun. Look for my watch. My glasses. I take my hat from the above.
I leave it alone.
Hold the sun slowly. With the bent elbow. In my pocket. Stand behind her. The sun.
I look back up to my left.
My hand on her shoulder.
And to my right.
I step backwards.
I look down at Anya and
I notice I'm watching Anya. Don't cross my legs and lean forward.
I look back at Leopold.
I turn away from fear.
Stand.
I polish my glasses.
I glance behind me.
All the time he's leaning. Tell the time by the sun.
This is the ultimate test of circles of concentration. You know, so there's that relationship with the watch is quite important, especially in the first act. Tell me about the purse.
It was a treat for myself. It's lined with gold silk, and it used to be very, very full of money, often overflowing. But now it's rather empty, and it kind of signifies the way I feel. And when I pull it shut, it shuts tighter than it ever has before.
So it's almost a metaphor for yourself.
This watch I bought with the first 20 rubles that I made. It's got horses on it because I chose that because I used to be a stable boy. So I thought that'll remind me of what my past life was like. And it's still pretty cheap. I could afford to buy a far better watch, but I keep this because it was the first thing that I could afford to buy. So it reminds me of where I've come from, and the fact that no one in my family has ever owned a watch before, and I do, that I paid for, is very important. So it's a really important piece.
This is a scarf which Mama gave to me before she went away, and it used to belong to her Mama, and it kind of symbolises my role in the house because her Mama used to run the cherry orchard and keep things in order, and I guess I keep it close to me to remind me of that and the past and my connection with my family and the cherry orchard.
And while you're there, can I just just point out that you saw how her hands were using it? Now, a lot of actor's energy moves into the hands if the actor is feeling unspecific or generalized, and the hands start to do this. And you see these gestures that are unfulfilled, imprecise expressions of energy. And these imprecise gestures are obviated very clearly by you touching that personal object and using it, and also having a story and a memory connected to it as well.
Also having the personal object was really helpful as well, because it kind of gives you a sense of holding onto this thing was a piece of the reality that exists in the cherry orchard. So it was something solid that you could physically hold and touch that lived in this play.
He talks about this magical moment when you put on a costume where you start to transform. So just tickle that experience along with the magic if. If I am Gaia, and then with your personal object, as you start to, take your personal object, then start to connect with that history of the personal object. Start finding your power with your bits and pieces of costume, and start working the unbroken line of life.
The unbroken line of life. Using actions, objectives and thoughts all together, the actor carries these elements off stage and lives with them between entrances. This creates an ongoing power to the character and the play's dynamic narrative.
Now, the difficulty is, we know with the technique, of keeping them going. So, you can use your personal object, you can use what you know of the dialogue of what that person is saying at that particular time. You can use the relationships that you see unfolding before you, and those kind of revelations or surprises. And you can stay in your thoughts on a particular pattern until something happens which changes the course of the river. Most actors fall down, if they fall down, in terms of their preparation. What's happening off stage. So they kind of think they can just switch on when the light hits them. And they can't. They can trick themselves into believing that the audience thinks that's, but basically it's laziness. So your preparation, what you do off stage, is vital. It's incredibly important. And that you know, in its extended form, is the unbroken line of life. So now you build your confidence on these wants, on these actions, on these thoughts. So let's go for it. Release the vocal energy. Instead of, okay, I want to. Huh? That's no good. All right, let's go. I want to come back and exploit the situation. I want to do a little number that will entertain.
I want everyone to ignore the tramp.
And point out
no one
how
to see the tramp.
desperate all my...
I want the tramp to
I want
feel
them to know that I'm sick.
To block people's vision of the tramp.
Push him away.
I don't want people to see the tramp.
I want you to feel sorry for me. I want this woman who has the gold chain to give me some money. I want to take a risk.
I want to get rid of this man. I want to
I want the tramp to leave.
I want you to go alone.
I want to hold on to this money till kingdom.
I want the tramp to leave.
I want the tramp to
I want to go. Let the confidence go, so you're making space for more energy, different energies to come in. You won't destroy the feelings by releasing vocal energy and saying things out loud. You don't, why? Because you're creating a map, an emotional map of possibilities. And the more confident you are in saying, I want this, I want that, and the changes, the more confident your performance will be. And, you know, so much good or bad acting is based on tentativeness, or just that lovely feeling of knowing, I know what I'm doing, I know why I'm doing it. And you feel the energy of the audience going, yeah, take us on a journey. Actor, that's what audiences want. They want you to take them on that journey.
I want Trofimov to think I'm very smart.
I want
to get closer to Trofimov.
I want everyone to realise how smart I am. I want everyone to listen to me talk.
I want to act. I want you to see how much in touch you are with what's really going on out there along the river, where the bargemen are pulling the... and I want to sing a little song. I want to receive some money. I want to thank you, everybody, and I want to laugh, and I want to go off to St. Petersburg first class.
I think you can see the future.
You and where you're looking at me, I think about if you're going to touch me.
I think you care about love too much.
Think about how soft your skin is.
I think you should forget about love. I think you should think about the future of Russia.
Can I challenge you, Trofimov? I think he's thinking other thoughts as well.
Yeah.
What?
I know what you're thinking.
So?
And I was...
You want to...
I'm dismissing it. I don't want to think about that.
Okay, but you've got to go there to dismiss it. Otherwise, it's not three-dimensional. You've already preempted the lust.
Gorgeous.
I think you care too much for love.
Think about how much I think about this and how it happens. It's just happened. And I wonder how this happened.
I think you can share what I feel.
I think there's something coming.
You see, what you're doing, you're just protecting yourself a little bit. Right, it's delicate. It's delicate stuff, right? So you're removing it once by using the third person. Use the first person.
Rhythm tempo. This is the internal orchestration of the play and the melding of energies between the characters and the different dynamics of each unit. A technique which illustrates and defines this orchestration is when each actor picks up the preceding actor's pitch and tempo, then changes it according to the dynamics of the text. It is revealed as the cause and effect of energy between the actors and is achieved by joining different methods together.
Is that we have to translate that idea that he's written about in a book into a practical process. And one way that I've discovered over the years of doing that is to do what you would think is a kind of an exercise based on gibberish. And it works like this, that I set up in gibberish a particular tempo rhythm. And my fellow actor takes up that gibberish rhythm tempo and changes it to his or her own. And then the next one takes up what they hear and changes it to his or her own. Will we try that? You can tune in and still retain your own rhythm tempo. So we've got two things happening here. We've got your own rhythm tempo and the rhythm tempo of the play itself. Now the combination of them happens with a shifting focus from one to the other, to the other, to the other, to the other, as made clear by that exercise. Répétition! Okay, let's go again. Celebrate.
That man scared me so.
I want to follow there.
I want to take Anya.
Oh, glorious nature, shining with eternal light. So beautiful, yet so indifferent to our fate. You whom we call Mother.
Humanity is perpetually advancing, always seeking to perfect its own powers. One day, everything that is beyond our grasp will fall within our reach.
My heart keeps thumping.
I nervously fiddle with my bag. I walk towards you.
I look at the orchard.
I walk slightly in front of you. I turn back towards you.
Put my hand on your shoulder.
I encourage that.
I turn you towards the orchard.
I look out, and then turn around in surprise and question you.
I want to share my visions.
I wanted this all.
I want her to stop talking about love.
Telling now and dying to tell us so long.
I want to ignore her love. I want
him to kiss me.
I want her to think about
what is going on. I want to do this all the time.
Conclusion. The Stanislavski system is based on learned skills, but it requires the actor to be open and vulnerable. These methods can be very successful in developing confidence, truth, and creativity between the cast and the director. They empower the actor and release the director from becoming a dictator. Whereas Stanislavski had many months to rehearse a play, we have very little time. By combining and overlapping these methods in this sequence, they work very quickly indeed.
What really struck me was the sitting around the table and going through the script very specifically, naming the units, talking about subtext in the play, and then getting up on our feet and physically being in the space, walking about the space, but saying, I think, and I want, out loud.
You know, in education they say there are two kinds of learning. One is more knowledge in the memory banks, and the other is more experiential, whereby you have a little shock. And that shock opens out the mind and the possibility, and it allows you to absorb more of what life has to offer. If the shock is too big, we build up a barrier and it becomes counterproductive. But a little shock to the system opens up the possibilities, you know, and this experiential learning, experience learning, is in fact closer to life.
I don't think it was until like midway through the second day that I felt there's real trust out there when we're working together, you know?
Stanislaviski gave it to us. I'm passing it on to you, okay? Take up the baton and run the race.